Just three ordinary guys trying to understand the crazy world around them. We don't have all the answers, but we've got all the questions. You're listening to Just Add Bourbon with Jimmy, JD, and Brad.
Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
And I'm JD Darren.
And it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky. And JD, feels good to be back, man, after a week off. I kind of missed you. I don't know that in my life I ever thought I would say that I would miss JD Dameron. But I actually missed having this conversation with you this past Sunday.
Yeah, it's weird how times change, man. You know, people come in and out of your life, but I got to say the same, man. I never thought, man, I just can't wait to talk to Jimmy on again.
Yeah, right. I know. I thought, man, because I actually took the whole gear. I took all the gear with me. I took my computer. I took the camera. I took the microphone. I took everything. And I thought, man, just in case, get down there and I can do something, but it didn't work out for me. The kids kept us busy every single night, and we had a good time. So I thought, well, before I get into that, everybody, if you're watching, of course, share this. We want this to get out to as many people as we possibly can. Comment. We want you guys to comment while JD and I are doing this show. The last show we did, JD, we had a ton of people actually get involved in the conversation, and it made it a heck of a lot more fun, man. I said it was cool to get everybody involved.
Yeah, I like that feedback too, man. One thing I didn't even tell you yet, I just now remembered you because you reminded me. I know where the couch questions have been coming from.
Oh, where?
I figured it out. So one of our buddies, one of our mutual friends, shared our podcast into a couch for sale. And so those guys were coming in like, we got couches for sale. So with that in mind, I think it's hilarious. So please, if you're in some crazy groups out there on Facebook, share this in those groups. We'll have them people come and ask those questions. I think it's
that's funny, man. Because I really it happened 2 or 3 times. Is this where the couch for sale? And then JD just roasted the cat the last time we got together and did this. So that's a lot of fun. That it's a sport for JD. See, people come in if they troll on us, we'll just let JD go at them. So, but anyway, no, get in here, comment, share, like, do all those things. I know JD and I both have been studying, how to use social media to help grow your brand and those things. And one of the things I figured out, JD, from the algorithm standpoint is you need comments, you need shares, you need, activity on all your posts. So guys, if you'll do that for us, we'd sure appreciate it. Also, go to our YouTube page and subscribe. JD, we had offered a giveaway another $100. If we could get some YouTube subscribers, and I think we got 6. Yeah, so I ain't giving $100 away for 6 subscribers. So if you're watching, go to the YouTube page and subscribe. I'll even say this, JD, if we can hit 500, we'll give away another $100. That sound good?
I'm down with it. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, obviously, Brad's not here. He's actually traveling himself. I'd say he's on the road right now, coming back from his trip. So anyway, JD, I went to Panama City last week, with the family on vacation. And I hadn't been to Panama City since college, like college spring break, like somewhere between 96 and 98. There was a time there where we hit like Daytona and Panama City and all that. But when we were actually driving into the condo that we stayed, we passed this old bar or club. It's called Club La Vila. And sadly, it has shut down. And one of the great experiences of my young life actually occurred at Club La Vila. And do you remember this? I don't know if because I'm a little bit older than you. You graduated with Tiff, right? My sister?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember like back in the day when MTV actually showed music videos, they had MTV Spring Break. Like it was this big thing all week, MTV Spring Break. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so
I do. I was a 14-year-old kid.
So I was there in Panama City while MTV was there. And they were at Club La Vila, and I watched the Stone Temple Pilots play.
Okay.
At Club La Vila in a swimming pool. And if you remember, it was awesome, man. It was, back then, that was the stuff. There were girls everywhere. maybe alcohol might have been flowing a little bit. I don't know. It's been 20 plus years ago. But when we drove by, and Amy and I both laughed because she had been to Panama City too. And I come this close to trying to sneak in just to check it out, you know.
You got to check it out, man.
Yeah, to reminisce. But, yeah, it was shut down. I was sad to see that. But we had a good trip, man. It was a lot of fun. First time we ever let the kids take, somebody with them. And I was joking with Amy. I said it was like being newlyweds again because they were kind of doing their thing. Amy and I actually got to hang out and talk to each other. And so we had a good time. So I saw that you had went to Devil's Bathtub.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that because that's something I've always wanted to do too. Was it cool?
Listen, man. So first off, we had plans of going to like Destin or Panama or somewhere, from Miramar Beach, somewhere. Anyway, what happened was I was supposed to start a job last week, and I ended up with that being up in the air, I didn't want to get caught, at the beach. I had to get paperwork filled out and all this stuff. Anyway, so we ended up canceling that trip, and I was like, man, what can we do different? Like everybody goes to the beach, everybody goes to doing the same things over and over again. I thought, man, I'd like to do something with my kids, not just be there while they go do their own thing. So I thought, what can we do? Like, what's fun? And I remember somebody a few years ago, I can't even remember who, had went to the Devil's Bathtub, and I thought I would want to check it out then. So I come up with that idea to go to the Devil's Bathtub. So it's actually, the Devil's Bathtub is not in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, but that's where we stayed at. And we stayed a couple nights. And, it's a trip. From here, you can drive there, experience the hiking trail and the bathtub, and come home. But we just want to get away for a couple of days with the kids. And, of course, Chase didn't go with me because he's 18 and I'm not cool no more. So but I took the youngest two, and my niece went with us, and we had a really good time, man. It was like I would definitely tell anybody to go check it out, man. Like you're gonna have a good time.
What is it exactly? I mean, so do you hike and then you go to this place and it's a body of water that's actually warm? I mean, like what is it?
It is not warm. Absolutely not.
No.
In that water, he would go out. It's cold. So you just hike, man. It's a trail, and you go beside the creek for a little while, and you go back and forth across the creek, and then you find a spot in the creek. There's a big water hole, man. And did you see the video of me?
Yeah.
Swinging in it? But I've got a lot of flack over, by the way. But the Devil's Bathtub is actually, man, it's not very big at all, but it's really deep. I mean, it's about, I'm going to say 12 foot deep, 9 foot deep, something like that. But I jumped off the side of the ledge every side, did cannonball into it. The people was like, oh my God, you know how to go.
Right.
We had a good time, man. We swung out to the water, and Haley was the first one to do it. She got over there. She got nervous. She was hanging onto the swing, and she wouldn't go. I was like, hey, Ko, start recording. And so then I pushed her in.
Yeah.
And then Ko and Savannah went, my niece. Then I went, man, I was scared to death, though. I was afraid. I'm a big boy. I was afraid that rope was going to break on me. So
yeah, sure.
Crazy. We recorded my first attempt, and I did look crazy because I was like trying to or if I fail, I could brace myself or something. But yeah, it was a good time, man. I would definitely tell anybody if you get a chance to check it out, definitely check it out.
So you could do it in a day trip, right? You could run up there.
I'll definitely be going back for sure.
Well, that's cool because that is something I've always kind of wanted to do. And when I saw that you did that, I couldn't wait to talk to you. And I was like, how was it? Because, I'm always looking for something to do with the kids, like you said, where everybody's present. The phones get sat down, and you're together, and you can go to Natural Bridge and hike and do that. And there's some cool places to eat there. And then I'd heard about Devil's Bathtub, and I thought, man, that'd be cool. That's something I wouldn't care to do myself.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like, you don't have to worry about being on the phone because you're hiking and there's no service.
Right. So perfect.
Pull the phone out, take some pictures, or record the kids doing things, and then put it away. We was enjoying being around with each other, man. So it was a good time. Well,
cool, man. I'm glad you had a good time. So want to talk a little bit about a couple things that you and I got going on. I noticed that, again, it's one of those things like I didn't get to talk to you. So I was like checking you out to see if you were trolling anybody on Facebook or what's JD doing, and I come across a YouTube video that you did, and you actually were reviewing a couple of different bourbons. And, we've had a couple of people on to talk about, different bourbons and things like that. And so you decided to kind of fire up a YouTube page, right, to kind of do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I like to do, man. I sipping on bourbon, and I think it's a fascinating world, man, the bourbon world, and, the way things are processed and also the way things are marketed is really interesting to me. And so I just decided that I would start reviewing some bourbons, and I've been having a good time with it, man. I've done 2 so far, probably do another one tonight. And I've done the Angel's Envy, which was recommended by Gary Irvin. I don't know if you remember that or not. But
yeah, I remember.
Let me tell you something, man. That is good bourbon. Excellent bourbon. Really good. And also did the Elijah Craig Small Batch, which is a one worldwide bourbon sip or spirit competitions.
Right.
It's like the real deal too. It's good. And I spent like I think $85 for both those bottles of bourbon. Like combined.
Yeah.
So
cool. Well, cool. So is there a YouTube channel, JD? Have you got like an actual YouTube channel that you're
search Jason Amron on the YouTube channel, man.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to check it out and see, JD review a couple of bourbons, go there and check it out. And then I'm actually launching mine, and Addison has rolled her eyes. But I've told people before, I have a love for all things collectibles, right? JD knows this. He makes fun of me too. But I read comic books, and I do. Which one's that?
This is the Woodford Reserve Double Oak. I didn't do a review on it because I didn't open it up, and I'm kind of trying to get a point system going where I can grade the bottles and the way how easy it is to open up,
right?
Taste, all of it, combined. So I'm just going to use new bottles, but eventually I'm going to start making cocktails with some of these cheaper bourbons and showing people, you can buy a $20 bottle of bourbon and get a lot of drinks out of it with this as a cocktail.
Right. Cool.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's all good. No, I saw the bottle come up there, and I was wondering if that was one of the ones you'd reviewed or not. So
check this out, though. I got me some ice tray makers where I got the round cube. See that?
Mm-hmm. Look at you.
Yeah. Fancy.
All big time.
Mr. Fancy, bro.
But anyway, what I'm saying is I'm going to actually start a channel, and it'll be called Small Town Collectibles. And I always tell people growing up, my Uncle Tony always traded at the flea market. He was a coal miner, and he got laid off so many times, and he just always traded. My dad always told me he's the only person he ever saw that could take a nickel and make $10 out of it. He was like that. If you've ever watched American Pickers,
yeah,
my Uncle Tony was just like Mike Wolf. And they used to let me go with him. And, when he would go find stuff, he would bring it back and I'd get to go out and sift through it. But the majority of the time that I was a kid, he was selling ball cards. And so I developed like this love hanging out with him, and I love it. And he would trade comic books, just whatever. And then he would let me read them before he'd sell. I don't know. It was just my whole life. I grew up doing that. So and I said this on a show a couple of weeks ago, I've become addicted to watching these unboxings, these mystery boxes, where they do these Funko Pops and they do comic books and ball cards and things like that. So I was having a conversation with the girls one day, and we were talking about it, and I said, why don't you all do that? You could start a YouTube page, unbox, some clothes, and then review said clothes. And they were both like, no, I don't think we could do that. And it bothered me.
Yeah.
Because as well as I do, JD, and you and I have had private conversations about this. I really push my kids to believe that they can do anything that they want to do. Anything. It takes some guts, and it takes some hard work. Not being afraid to try it. Right. And then once you do try it, give it everything you got and try. And if you do something that you love, it's not work anyway. So it really bothered me that they didn't feel like they could do this. And so I just decided I'm going to try to build a YouTube channel.
Yeah, same.
Doing this and show my kids that you can literally do anything if you try. So I'm very publicly going to try to build this YouTube channel doing what I do in my spare time, which is be a nerd. So
I don't think that's nerdy though, man. Like ball cards and comic books. Well, comic books maybe a little nerd.
Well,
the Funko Pops things, man. I think they're cool. I told you that one that I got for Christmas is one of my favorite gifts I ever got. Was that little Funko Pop of the Night King from Game of Thrones, man. I love it. Like
JD, I don't mean to interrupt. John Kirk just commented, just don't let them be Democrats.
Oh, man, John. I'll tell y'all a story about John here, man. Y'all ready?
I'm ready. Bring it on, John. John's talking a little trash, JD. Go ahead.
All right, man. So I like John. John's my boy. Like, I really like John. I met John a few years ago. We was doing the alumni football game against Belfry or whatever. And John came out, and, I like John. I always do. Well, as soon as I met him, I knew I was going to like him. You know what I'm saying? So so the other day, one of my friends puts on her Facebook, like a picture of herself or something. And John goes, "Oh, hot," or something like that. So I messaged her. I said, "Did John Kirk just message you?" No. I'm like, because I'm the master. That's how I know.
That's because I know, people.
So, believe it or not, I don't think things went great. That me and her hung out Friday night, and he walked in. And then friends, she's one of my best friends.
Right.
But it got awkward pretty quick.
That's funny.
But it's all good, man. I still love you, John. And, Democrats, bro, that's where it's at.
So something I want to talk about, JD, and we'll kind of get into the, kind of meat of what we're going to discuss this evening. I wore a mask yesterday for the first time, and I did not like it at all.
Oh, is that right?
I did not like it. And the reason why, a couple things, and it's funny how your attitude about things change depending on what you're doing or your surroundings. So I've said on here a bunch of times that I didn't want to wear a mask, and I wasn't going to wear a mask. I just won't go in anywhere where they require you to wear a mask. I'm not going to raise a bunch of, cane about it. I'm just not going to go in.
Right.
Because my world's fairly limited, right? I go to work. I'm pretty much there by myself most of the time. During quarantine, we were using Zoom and doing all the different things that we've learned to do during the quarantine. But being in Florida, and then every day you're reading these spikes, right? You're getting the spike in cases. And I was down there in the hotbed of where the biggest spikes are.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Panama City per se, but Florida in general. Yeah. So, coming home, I told Amy, I said, look, the reason that I'm not at JD's house right now doing this show is because I didn't want to go over there and expose JD just in case. No. Because I'm actually going to go get tested tomorrow, for COVID and make sure that I didn't pick it up while I was out of town. Now, I don't think I did. I'm not, symptomatic, nothing like that. And really, when you're on the beach, you're social distance, you're far apart. In the restaurants, though, man, honestly, being down there, you'd have never known there was a pandemic. It was wide open. It was weird because, some places you would go in, there'd be a mask. You'd have to wear a mask to go in. I didn't go in. Right. Amy and the girls would put on their masks. They were shopping anyway. I didn't want to go in anyway. So they were shopping. They would go in. But 99.9% of the places we went, the people in the stores were wearing masks, but nobody else around was. Nobody.
Right.
In the restaurant, same thing. Staff would be wearing a mask. Nobody in the restaurant. That was waiting, nothing. Nobody. So coming home, I told Amy, I said, look, Brashear has mandated it now. I think that was it. And then people lost their minds. I still don't get that, JD, and that's something we can discuss. I don't necessarily get, and anybody that's watching, if you want to comment on this is something I would really like some discussion on, is what your all's thoughts are on having to wear a mask. What do you think about Brashear mandating it? So coming home, I just told Amy, I said, look, I haven't seen my mom. I stopped and picked my dog up, and I told Mom, I said, look, until I go get tested and I know I'm good, we're not coming around. Because my mom does have some, underlying issues with her lungs.
Sure.
And my entire point of view about masks changed because I was in Florida where it's prevalent, and I had been here in Eastern Kentucky where it's not so much, and I just wasn't wearing a mask. I was like, nope, there's nobody around us that's got it. I'm not wearing a mask. Till I go down to Florida, I'm down there where everybody and their brother apparently is getting it. I think Florida just set a record today or yesterday for like 15,000 cases or 17,000 cases in a day. So we come back. We had to stop at a gas station in Kentucky. I put that mask on. And it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever put on. You're talking about wearing my nose, like it just itching my nose. It was just wearing me out. So, I mean, I guess, if the governor mandates it, and Jason Rundle just commented the mandate got overruled by a Scott County judge, and I saw that. Daniel Cameron had sent that out. And I don't know if that held up or not, because it was really just saying that Bashir had violated the law. He just didn't follow the letter of the law by the executive order. So, JD, what do you think about the mask? Like the outrage, the whole thing.
So let me start with Bashir, because you've known me pretty good. I mean, this last year we've got to know each other pretty good, and I've said this over and over again. I don't like overreach of executive power. I don't have a problem with the mandate to wear a mask. What I have a problem with is him not going through the direct channels to get it done. We have rules and regulations set up. There's a way to go about doing it. We have a state and a house where these legislation bodies help us determine what's best for our state. I don't mind wearing a mask. I wear a mask, but I don't like being mandated by a single person to do it. I think that's overreach, in my opinion. I don't think it's your personal choice. Jason Reynolds, but I don't mind wearing a mask, but it's my choice. I'm not going to let the government tell me what to do. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because you're not affecting you. You're not the one. You don't wear a mask to protect you. You wear a mask to protect other people from you, and so you don't have the right or you don't have the choice. You shouldn't have the right or the choice to infect somebody else with a deadly virus. I could live with myself if I thought I gave somebody a virus and killed them, and not even knowing I had the virus. You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't. That wouldn't sit right with me. So I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I don't get the outrage still yet. I don't think it's a mind control device. I don't think it's the one world order trying to seep through. I think people are just. I think if a Republican governor would have done this, all the Republicans would have been on board with it. I think if a Democrat governor would have done it, all the Democrats are going to be on board with it.
And don't you think that's sad, JD, that it's that way?
It's silly is what it is. Good government doesn't matter if you're R or D, man. Good common sense doesn't matter. Those party things don't matter. We're talking about protecting people's lives here. I know we see these numbers. We see 130,000 people dead. We see, all this. Those are people. Those are families. Those are fathers. Those are sons. Those are mothers. Those are sisters. We see numbers. And so, my uncle is in the hospital with her right now in Tennessee, and he's getting transferred to Nashville. And I know, John Kirk, I see your message here says, how deadly is it really? I don't know. I mean, I know it's not percentage-wise. It's not really deadly, right? But if that percentage is your uncle, it takes on a different meaning. If that's your mom, it takes on a different meaning. So it's very serious, in my opinion.
So John Kirk also asked if we think it's real. And I absolutely think the virus is real. 100%. I have a cousin that is a doctor in Louisville, and he has treated many people that have COVID, and he says it's the real deal, and it's nasty when it gets a hold of you. It's, because the thing is, you're right, JD, and that's the part, and I think why people think it's not, why I even ask that question is I think a political thing as well, because you literally got the Democrats and the Republicans using it as a political football.
Crazy.
And it's silly. I mean, it's just like I told you, you couldn't have made me put a mask on. Nobody. If I hadn't been to Florida, I don't know that I would wear one now.
Right.
But I'm not really around people. But when I went to Florida and there was a chance that I was exposed to it, the thought of coming back and really my mom, anybody, infecting them with that virus, I'm staying away from you tonight. First thing in the morning, I'm going to go get tested. And until I know for a fact, and Amy's going to get tested and so are the kids. Everybody's going to get tested and make sure we're good. So as far as that goes, it completely changed my opinion. And there's so many. Here's the other part, JD, especially when it comes to like the mask and the virus. It keeps changing back and forth. Like at first, like even the CDC and the Surgeon General, all those places were like, do not wear a mask.
Right.
Do not wear a mask. And then it changes to, oh, nope, you got to wear a mask. So can you understand why people are even skeptical?
Yeah, I get it, man. But I also know that's how the scientific method works, right? Like you start out with a certain hypothesis, and then as the information comes out, you change the way you deal with things, right? So originally, I think the CDC put out for not everybody to go buy a mask because they was worried about a shortfall in nursing facilities and hospitals and things of that nature, where the medical caregivers need those things to care for the people who are most at risk. And so now that's changed because the manufacturing has now caught up with our need. And John, you asked not so much the virus, but the actual severity. And James reiterates that with saying, I'm not sure. I heard it was 99.5% live. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll say the same thing again. Those are just numbers, though. When those people, when that 0.5% affects you, it takes on a different meaning, man. It takes on a different meaning for me, knowing I got my uncle's laying in the hospital down there. And I'm talking about a tough guy. I'm talking about a guy retired from the military, who people say I'm a lot like my Uncle Curtis, which whatever, but this ain't some guy that's just some wimp. You know what I'm saying? This is a tough guy. He's now in the hospital fighting for his life over this. And so he gets home a little different when you know somebody in that and let me reiterate this too. It's not just the people that die from it either. When these hospitals start getting overrun, which is starting to happen, that's when we're going to start seeing more people going without the medical attention they need, and you're going to see those numbers spike even more dramatically. And
here's where I think a lot of people push back, JD, and really even in my own head where I kind of go back and forth is, the numbers, the death rate seems to go down, right? It seems like it has gone down. Even as cases have spiked, the death rate itself has gone down.
Right.
And as harsh as this is to say, because I didn't know your uncle had it, and I hate that, we'll be thinking about him. And you're right, when it hits home, it takes on a different meaning. But with everything that's been done, with the quarantine, with shutting the economy down, with everything that's been done, dude, and this is harsh to say it like this, but people die every day from various things. And
right.
The flu, people die every year. I mean, the flu is the one that gets thrown out all the time.
Sure.
We don't shut the economy down for the flu.
Right.
And the numbers are starting to seem like they're going to be less than the flu at the end of the day. So, and I may be wrong about the number, but that's what I read that the other day, that it seems like it's going to end up being less than the flu, what it kills in a year. Take the flu for a year and the coronavirus for a year, and the number would be less. So, my dad had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He died from cancer. People die. It happens. And that's harsh to say, and especially to somebody who has had it or had a family member die from it. I get that. But do you see what I'm saying? Why people are pushing back, or why they feel like it? Like these questions that were getting answered, like Jason Rundle says, we quarantined and it didn't work. We aren't going to stop the virus. I believe most people will get it at some point in time, no matter what precautions you take.
Yeah, but that's not happening in other countries, though. That's just not true. Because what other countries did was the government subsidized everybody's work and everybody stayed home. They said, here, even the countries that had a bigger population than us paid everybody to stay home, just like they was working. They paid the companies just like they was making money. And now they're all back to work. And my point about, everybody's talking the flu, the death rate is going down. It's not as big as the flu, which is right. The death rate is the percentage-wise. If you catch this thing, you're more likely to live if you got the flu. But we also have vaccines for the flu, so there's a big difference. But the numbers actually for the flu through a year is like 60,000, and we've had like 130,000 people dead.
Right.
So total numbers, way different. Now, why you're seeing the death rate go down is because you're starting to see people in a healthier age group contract the virus. 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds are starting to catch this thing, and they're going to survive it. The survivability rate's much higher. So, it just makes sense. Let's see. Yeah. Life is like a mist of water. We're only here for a short time, then we're gone. He's trying to quote the book of James, which says, "Was your life is but a vapor which appeareth for a little while, then vanisheth away." And it's true. But, we don't want to just, I agree with what you were saying. And I want to make sure I enunciate this correctly. But we're not asking people to do a crazy amount of things, man. Nothing unreasonable. There's nothing unreasonable that anybody's asking you to do. wash your hands, social distance, and wear a piece of cloth for a few hours, man. That's not really unreasonable to me. And so the pushback, I just don't get. I don't get.
All right, let me ask you this. So what about the people who say, well, they just keep moving the goalpost? First it's quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's wear a mask. What else are they going to ask us to do? Well, the question is, what else could they ask us to do?
Right. Well, like I said, as new information come out, they have to take this thing in new ways.
Sure.
You know, what they started with the first time wasn't the best thing. You know, if you remember at the very beginning of this thing, people were taking Benadryl or what, is that right? Or no, what was they taking? It's some medicine over the counter, and they took it off the shelves because it was enhancing the properties of this virus were getting, worse because people were taking this medicine. So they jerked that stuff off the shelves. So as new information comes about how to treat this thing, I don't think the goalpost is being moved dramatically.
Right.
But wear a mask, man. It's just not. I just don't see the big deal, and it's not expensive to do it.
And here, this is coming from someone who was just anti-mask, period. I was just anti-mask, right? I didn't want to wear one.
Right.
And I wasn't going to, but I'm going to. As long when the government mandated it, even if it was overreached, he's making it a law, I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow the law.
Right.
But here's a case study, and I have trashed Cuomo, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But New York essentially shut down, and everybody there, when you see them, wears a mask. You can't walk in a place without a mask on. You just aren't going in. They will throw you out.
Right.
And their numbers have declined a great deal. You haven't seen them spike. They were the worst in the beginning, but they got a huge population. I'm going to tell you, JD, as one who I like to believe I'm open-minded and willing to change my mind about things. I believe I've changed my mind. I think maybe, when we go out, let's take that precaution. I'm still probably not going to go in a lot of places. I'm probably going to stay home a lot because I just don't like wearing the mask. But when I do go in somewhere, I'm probably going to put one on.
A directive came down from the KHSAA Friday morning.
Yeah.
And coaches are going to have to wear a mask to practice now. So
man.
No time I practice. It's not going to be cool out there with a mask on. But if it keeps those kids safe, then you best believe I'm going to do it. It's not going to be any safer. I'm not going to be any safer for wearing that mask. But what if I give a kid on that football team that virus and he's fine, but his grandma dies?
Right.
No, I can't live with myself with that. And people were wanting the economy open back up, and I totally get it because I do too. We all do. I want to see my community flourish. I want to see the state flourish. I want to see these businesses flourish. I want, Tommy Maynard over here. I want that car lot to be full of people. I want people to come in small town mortgage. So I'm going to wear a mask so we can get back to that normalcy as quickly as possible.
And that's something I heard too, JD, over the weekend was like, look, and Brashear said it, and I said it, you talking about dangling the carrot, and it may have worked for me too, subconsciously. He said, look, if you want to have football this year, if you want to go watch the Cats play football or do you want to watch the Cats play basketball, wear a mask. If you don't, and maybe subconsciously that clicked for me too. So I think if everybody just kind of got on board, and like I said, if you don't want to wear a mask, I get it. And I don't like being – Kenny Tackett just said, JD, and he's so right. Kenny Tackett said, people getting upset about getting told what to do, I don't get. Hell, I'm married. I'm used to doing what I'm told. A mask is inconvenient, but not a big deal in my opinion. Amen, Kenny. I'm used to being told what to do as well.
I'm used to being told but it's my mom now, Yeah. So I actually put a post on Facebook earlier this week that said, I don't get the outrage about people wearing a mask. We have to pay taxes, fine. We got to put a seatbelt on, great. Have to wear a mask, how dare you? What an overreach of your government control. It's like, what? That's the one you're going to kick back on?
Yeah.
Because to me, a seatbelt, if I'm in a car by myself, a seatbelt is a lot more invasive on my, what I want to do than that mask is really.
Yeah, I literally just went to Zip Zone up the road here to get a can of chew.
Yeah.
I put on a mask when I went in.
Yeah.
And a month ago, JD, when we talked about this, I was adamant. And I was like, we'll not put one on. I just won't go in. If I have to put a mask on, I won't go in. And it's just funny how your mindset changes once you've been in a place and then you come back and there's a chance that there's a legitimate shot I could have it.
Right.
And to think that I can infect my mom, and if it hurt my mom and it was my fault, I couldn't live with myself.
Right.
And so, I mean, really, I've changed my whole thought process. I'm going to wear a mask when I go into a public place from now on. Like I said, I probably won't go into a lot of public places. I will drive through. I will do what I can. I'll have my groceries delivered outside.
Sure.
But Amy is getting me one. Like, I've got a couple of loan closings tomorrow. I'm going to wear a mask while I do them, you know,
So
until I know.
I want to address this. Jason Reynolds now made a comment. Said, wear a mask, but you can still get it by surface touching. They aren't even sanitizing shopping cart. My goodness. Shopping carts anymore. We call those buggies around here. But anyway.
Yeah, Rundle, those are buggies.
So that's true. Like, you know, and I had a Facebook discussion with somebody too. She was like, I'm not going to wear a mask because you can still get this, that, and the other. It's great. That's great. You can. But what we need is a multi-pronged plan to attack this virus, to win against this virus. That's why the social distancing, that's why the sanitation, or sanitize your hands. That's why you wear a mask. You know, if you do all these things, is the risk zero? No. But does it greatly reduce the risk? Then absolutely.
Did you see the thing, JD, that came around? I guess the superintendent, they were calling around surveying literally everybody in the county that had a kid in the school system here, asking how you wanted your child to be educated this year. And it was either, you know, go to school 5 days a week, or you could do in-home instruction. And I told Amy, I said, look, my girls need structure. They'll be going to school.
No.
But they'll have to wear a mask. And I think they're in the classroom, as long as they're spaced apart, they don't have to wear them. Teachers are going to have to wear them. And there was a study done. I think Brown did one, and then there was a study done over in Asia that said, look, as long as you wear a mask, it's almost zero.
Yeah.
You know.
What's the argument? What's the argument?
Yeah.
You know, just do it. Yeah, take care of your fellow man. You know, what do you say, Levi? Let's see. I don't have a problem wearing a mask, but there's a mask out there. But there is not a mask out there made for this. There's some that can protect you, but no, they don't keep you from passing it. You know, I mean, Levi, we understand, man. Reducing the risk is the thing. If we do all these things together, we reduce the risk. Is there chances? Sure. But wear your mask so we can get back to school. Wear your mask so we can have sports. Wear your mask so our businesses can stay open. That's all, that's it.
And, I mean, it's really getting real. I mean, the SEC commissioner came out the other day and said he's not sure they're going to have football this year. Right? You know, I swear, JD, it's what I thought too. I was like, my God, I mean, I think people would feel better about wearing the mask if the economy was just wide open. If they opened everything back up and said, look, we're going to open it up, but you must wear a mask. You have to wear a mask when you're inside. You have to do, whatever. You have to wear a mask. People might be a little more, comfortable with that if they knew that everything was going to be open back up.
Right, but this is the road to that, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what
Sure.
we need to keep in our mind, that this is the road to open back up. And Amanda Fields, she says, I can't wait to see my AES students. Whatever. She don't like her students.
That's not true.
No, she loves them. She does. She's awesome.
Addison Kerr loved Amanda Fields as a teacher and said she's the best principal ever. And that is not brown nosing because Addison is moving on to the middle school. So she won't even be – I won't even get to see Amanda this year. This will be the first time in a long, long time. So,
But you're missing out. Amanda's awesome.
Yeah, no, she's cool. All right, so I want to go on to something else, JD, because we've talked for almost 40 minutes about the mask thing.
Yeah.
So – and we'll finish up the show with this topic.
I just got threatened, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, she did. Hey, I'll help you, Amanda. It's fine. So I'll hold him. All right, so we've talked about Jeffrey. What is it?
Just Wayfair. You about to talk about Wayfair?
Yes.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's brought props.
Yeah, boy.
He's brought props. All right, so first off, we've talked about the Jeffrey Epstein thing 100 times.
Sure.
I can't concentrate with that on. All right. We've talked about that 100 times, and his cohort, his partner in all this, was Giselanne Maxwell. And she was just arrested, I guess it was last week, one day. And she was basically the one who was going and actually, procuring these young ladies for him, almost like his pimp. Right. So after she gets arrested, we're like, okay, is she going to flip? Is she going to talk? The FBI says they've known where she's been forever. And then all of a sudden, social media, like my Twitter feed blew up with these posts about Wayfair. And there was pillows and tables that would be like $11,000 or $25,000. A table was $25,000, and it just so happened to have the name of a child that was missing. Now, that could be a coincidence, but there's like hundreds of these,
right.
And it's being tied back to child trafficking. And then I saw later that there was an eBay post, similar, Amazon, similar things that cost $50 normally, that were $11,000-$12,000, and then it was basically a BS response from Wayfair, in concerning this. So my question to you, JD, with the tinfoil hat on, is: could this be tied to human trafficking and child trafficking?
I like to think not, man. Really, it could be absolutely. First off, let me talk about Giselanne Maxwell. How long do you think she lives? You think she makes it through this?
No.
But I'll be honest, Prince Andrew has been around a lot longer than I thought he would already. But they've got, Maxwell in custody now. And from what I hear, and I don't know how reliable these sources are, obviously, that she's going to sing like a canary. She's going to give up the goods. That she has videotapes of prominent U.S. politicians having sex with minors, celebrities having sex with minors, and I don't care where they're from. I don't care what color they are. And I don't care what political party they're with. If they've got the goods on them, I hope they get everything that's coming to them. That's a fact. That's how I feel about it. As far as Wayfair is concerned, man, I don't know. That seems crazy. Right? Because, I look ridiculous, by the way.
No more than normal, dude. I'm sorry. It really kind of adds to your look,
I can pull off a lot, but I don't know why. But the Wayfair thing's got me a little bit. I don't know, man. They sell a lot of stuff. Wayfair moves a lot of merchandise, and there's a lot of kids missing. There's 800,000 kids missing. And you can put any name on anything and come up with
sure.
Missing. And so that's one of the rebukes. I hope it's not true, but I also think it's worth looking into. This all started on Reddit from just a guy that picked it up, but you don't know. Our intelligence agencies ain't slouches, you know what I'm saying? They understand, get public opinion on your side and things of that nature. We don't know that, Maxwell didn't leak something out and this guy picked it up because of that leak. Or we don't know who this guy is. I don't know. Definitely interesting.
Well, I asked JD last night, I said, do you think it's coincidental that she gets arrested and then this comes out? Because, dude, I clicked on one of the links. It's legit a pillow, and I found a pillow that was very similar to that for $25.
Yeah.
And there is a link for that almost identical pillow, and it was $11,500. It's weird. Yeah. Where's Brad Broadus right now?
I don't know, Brad. You got to be getting on this, man.
Yeah, it's really strange, and it's one of the things that. We talk about a lot of it, but there's not a lot of evidence. But you can see that.
Yeah.
And there's several of them, man. It's just very odd. And I just found it, funny that it would be almost, right after she gets arrested that stuff like this starts popping up.
Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Could it be? Sure.
And I think, JD, on the feed, it's all pretty much, she's a dead woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see you, Sean. She's definitely going to commit suicide. She has all that. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think there's no doubt that, I don't know, it's hard to even talk about JD because I agree. James Guest says all pets should be hung from a tall tree with a short rope, and it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
I hate, but, and Sean McCubbins, it raises a big red flag for me too. And I think even JD, who is skeptical when Brad and I talk about stuff like this, even JD said, man, that's got my attention.
It definitely has my attention, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll be interested to see where that goes.
And it's so easy to dismiss, and which is probably the genius of it. You know what I mean? That's like, I don't know how long has the business been going on. Like I would like to go back in Wayfair's history and see, and track down where they've shipped some of these cabinets or these pillows or stuff like that. Now Wayfair's pulled a lot of those ads down, obviously, but they're saying because the description didn't give a accurate description of what the product actually was, because this is an industrial strength cabinet.
What?
I never even seen a $12,000 cabinet.
Dude, most of them were pillows.
Yeah.
What kind of pillow? I mean, is clouds in there that I don't know. I mean, it's just it makes no sense. And I believe that I believe there's going to be something come out of this, and I hope that they can protect her better than they did Epstein, and that she sings like a canary and brings down that whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know one thing I wanted to ask you about, and we'll kind of slide over to this because I know you'll have strong opinions about it, is about Trump pardoning Roger Stone.
Well, I think it's classic Trump. He's taking care of the guys taking care of him, right?
I think it's classic president.
Well, I don't think
every president has, Obama. I think it was Obama, maybe Bush, that the guy that was a spy that they pardoned, they basically ratted out a spy, and they ended up pardoning him. Was it Scooter Levy or somebody like that? I don't know if it was Obama or Bush, but I think they all pardoned. And we had this talk about Bevan, the pardons that he was doing. I knew it was coming when they first prosecuted.
So Jason Reynolds says Obama and Clinton both have done it.
Oh, they've all done it.
Yeah, but why are you leaving out Bush, man?
Oh, Bush, Reagan,
that's like
everybody.
That's playing politics right there. I mean, everybody's done it. They've
all done it.
But the thing with Trump is, man, like he continually, if somebody disagrees with him in his cabinet, they're fired. If they testify to Congress, they're fired. If they take care of me, I take care of them. Like that shady business. I just don't like that. You think he's going to?
But now, JD, you got to be fair. They all do it, and they're all taking care of each other. You can't just lay that on Trump.
Do you think Michael Cohen's going to get a pardon?
Oh no, for sure he's not.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and it's not because he did something worse than.
But the next Democrat president that comes in that hated Trump will probably pardon him.
That's not okay though. Just because they've done it in the past doesn't.
I agree 100%. What I'm saying though is laying that on Trump like that is not fair either, because they all do it.
Yeah, they all have to do it. I agree with that.
And they let guys out of jail all the time.
But saying Obama did it and Clinton did it, you skipped one, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I didn't say that.
No, but
Rundle said that, yeah. But no, in that case, and Rundle, I have to agree with JD there. You're playing politics. Because Reagan did it, Bush did it, Bush Jr. did it. They've all done it, and they've all let sketchy people out because they were their pals, or they took care of them at some point. That's how it always has worked. And I thought, but I was interested when I saw that. Saw JD's head's about to explode.
What about the Kanye 2020? What's that about? What do you think that's about? Like, you think he actually wants to be president?
No. Can I be honest?
Absolutely.
He likes Trump.
He's trying to steal the black vote from Biden?
He's trying to steal the black vote from Biden.
Yeah. You can say that, man.
I mean, that's what I think.
I think too. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to work, though. I think everybody sees right through it.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that and I was like, are you kidding me?
So how are you feeling right now about the election? If it was tomorrow, who do you think will win?
Trump.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mirror image of what happened against Clinton. It's a mirror image.
Yeah.
And Biden, I think Biden, a lot of people are really frustrated with Trump. But I think if he can get past all this, COVID-19 stuff, and I think because he showed up with a mask on, JD.
Yeah. We're only 6 months in.
Yeah. He showed up with a mask on. And and this is my opinion on that too.
Okay.
Is he's wearing a mask because he knows. I think he knows that in order to get the economy cranked back up to where it was, we've got to get past this pandemic stuff. And the spikes have got to stop. All that stuff has to stop.
But that's been the same. It took him since February to get this?
I don't disagree with that. I don't think that. I think in his mind, I don't think it was as serious And I think in a lot of people, just like reading our feed here, a lot of people, because we haven't seen it here in Eastern Kentucky. We haven't seen the numbers like New York and places like that. Even my cousin in Louisville said, look, man, this is a nasty thing. Right. If people get it, it's nasty. And so we haven't seen it. But I think there's a lot of people out there in a lot of places who are going to vote for Trump that haven't seen it either, who think it's BS. And if Trump Trump puts the mask on, right? It took him 6 months to do it. But I think he realizes too, I think strategically it's smart on his part, because he's going to say, okay, I'm going to wear the mask. I want everybody to wear the mask. Gets everybody calmed down. If the spikes stop, maybe the economy gets opened up completely, and then boom, man, the economy takes off right in time for the election. Him getting to debate Biden, and I think he wins again.
Yeah, I mean, do we want a leader though, man? Like 6 months late, how many people could have been saved had he put a mask on so many months ago? We don't know,
dude.
Know.
I mean,
I get, but our leaders got to lead, man. You can't show up 6 months late,
right?
With that kind of leadership, that's not leadership.
But nobody knew what to do, JD. That's the thing. Nobody knew what to do.
I mean, Jimmy Don. Okay, maybe not February, but March, in April, in May, we didn't know. We did know. The reporters.
Dude, they were telling people. We just talked about it. They were telling people not to wear a mask.
February, they were, but not in May. They wasn't. And in May, the reporters in the room with him were wearing masks, right?
But nobody had made it mandatory until like the last 3 weeks.
Right. But
no state. That's what I'm saying is it's now becoming mandatory, and now he's wearing a mask because he's saying, okay, yeah, I agree, we need to wear the mask. But nobody had made that mask thing mandatory until the last 2 weeks.
Right. You're exactly right. But he's the guy who should have been leading the way on this. He's the leader. He's the guy everybody's looking to. The buck stops with who? That guy, with Trump. Mm-hmm. And that's just plain and simple. We don't need a guy that's going to be 6 months late to this issue. We need a guy that's going to be out in front of this issue.
I just, look, it's easy to say that, but I can look at every governor in most of the states. I can look at Republican and Democrat governors who fumbled this up. In New York, you had more deaths than anywhere because they were sending people into nursing homes with this stuff, killing the people that were the most susceptible. And that was a Democrat. They didn't know. Nobody knew. And like I said, again, it's one of those things where it's easy. And, you made the comment to Rundle about, that's political. If we're trying to have a real conversation, you and I, about this, what you just said is political.
It's not about politics, man. It's not about party. It's about the person. It's not about him being a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah.
Him being him. No matter, regardless of party. And if he'd been a Democrat and done the same thing, I would have said, hey, man, you dropped the ball. If you're a Democratic governor and you didn't lead the way on the mask issue like Cuomo did, then you dropped the ball on this. If you didn't lead the way like the way Bashir did, you dropped the ball on this. I don't care about your Democratic Party. I don't care about your Republican Party. I'm caring about what you're doing as a leader. Mm-hmm. Leadership, not somebody who's stuck in your way, going to dig in no matter what, and not listen to people who are the experts. The experts have been saying for a couple of months now that masks are a good thing. I know the Facebook scientists don't like that, but that's just the fact of the matter. And we need guys that are going to do what the experts say to do. You don't know. I'm not. If an epidemiologist showed up and showed you how to do your job, you'd say, get out, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right. And Rundle makes a good point here. He says they also said it would die down with the summer heat. They just don't know. And they don't. They don't know. And like I said, they're all kind of guessing at this point. And, and the thing is at the end of the day, they're politicians, right? They're trying to get reelected. Sure. Not one of them will do the right thing, which is, like, I actually got to give Bashir credit, okay? I didn't vote for him, probably won't vote for him this next time, just because of other issues. But on this particular issue, he come out and said, I don't care what happens. People need to wear a mask, and I'm mandating it. And I actually respect that because he's right. It will probably get him beat because he is in a state where it's primarily Republican. It will get him beat, but he did it anyway, and I kind of respect that.
Yeah. That's the kind of that's what leadership looks like.
That's good leadership. That is good leadership, man. And like I said, has Trump been perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, he has made a lot of missteps, but so did Cuomo in New York. So did, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has. Nobody knew what to do.
Right. But once we figured out what to do, we should have been doing this. I mean,
Well, I think that's happening. And honestly, JD, I think it's happening right now.
but it's not like 2 weeks ago we figured out that masks were a good idea. We've known this for a couple of months. We've known it for a few months. I mean, people look, all these, there's a lot of people who are Republicans that think Trump's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's fine. So when he puts on a mask, they're going to say, oh, well, I guess mask ain't so bad. Because that's the president, man.
That is what's going to happen.
Huh?
That is what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done it 2 months ago, man. There's been a lot more people, a lot more aunts and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters still walking around. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah. Good discussion. I like that one.
That's not political. That's not a political thing, man. That's just
good.
Who the person is.
No, I agree, man. And I mean, it's one of those, it's almost like it's a comedy of errors. It has been all the way around. And it's interesting to find out. I think we figured out a lot, man, that we do definitely need to get some of our manufacturing back in this country. We're trying to get stuff from China. Our medicine comes from China. How crazy is that? That we get our medicine from China. That stuff needs to be manufactured here. We need to start. And, even Biden right now, I read a thing the other day where Biden's talking about, hey, we need to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. And he's right.
Yeah, I agree.
He's absolutely right. And, I don't know. Interesting discussion, though. I mean, both of those discussions, all that stuff was good. We didn't even plan on really getting into the whole Trump thing, but that was a good discussion. And once again, let's see, Josh Horn, JD says, I just find it funny that our state AG can fire back at Andy with lawsuits, but he can't bring justice for Brianna Taylor. That's legit.
It's legit.
It's
John,
legit.
I can't believe you're signing with the Republican. It blows my mind. I can't believe it.
What is it?
John Kirk's acting like you're beating me 2-0 on the argument. It's like,
no.
He's signing with you.
Well, even right now, JD, like my air conditioner up here, this is another crazy thing. We get down to Florida, Amy's air conditioner goes out in her car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they tried to screw me. Like they were going to charge me $2,800.
What?
They told me that 2 things were down. I called Pops. Shout out to Pop Chevrolet in Prestonsburg. Go there and buy a car. The service manager there. The service manager there actually told me, said, look, dude, that shouldn't cost more than $1,700. So he ended up calling them, and they ended up lowering their price, to $1,700. And so my air conditioner upstairs, where I'm sitting right now, went out right before we left.
Oh, gosh.
It was supposed to be fixed while I was gone. Shout out House Heating and Cooling. They can't get the part. They couldn't fix it while I was gone because they can't get the part. I send stuff on eBay. I sent something. It took 3 weeks for something to go like 2 states over. It's crazy.
Right.
But the fact of not what I was talking about, the fact of we figured out during COVID and quarantine that we've got to get the majority of our manufacturing back here, especially the important stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Like, there's no reason for it. Those are good American jobs that, could be here, and we need them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, cool, man. Anything else you want to talk about, JD?
Can we talk on the Brianna Taylor thing for a minute, man?
Yeah, fire away, yeah.
Because we didn't ever really got to speak on that, and I'd like to.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I feel like it's getting lost in all this shuffle with all the things that's going on.
Sure.
So you don't know that Brianna Taylor dated a guy that the Louisville Louisville Police Department was trying to get a search warrant on, a no-knock search warrant on. They ended up knocking her door down in the middle of the night, coming in and shooting her dead. One of the things I've been seeing on Facebook a lot is if you don't do anything wrong, the cops will leave you alone. Now, I really wish somebody would tell Brianna Taylor's family that. You know what I mean? Like, a lady was laying down on her bed at night, and she gets a no-knock search warrant knocked on her door, or kick her door down. The surviving guy that was in the house, who was Brianna Taylor's current boyfriend, says they didn't even announce themselves when they come in and kicked the door down, and he shot back. What would you do?
I'd fire away. If it was a no-knock warrant. I mean, those guys, it was a no-knock warrant. That should be illegal anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we need to do something different, man, than what we're doing with that. And I think no-knock warrants are a good start.
No, and Josh is right. And that's one, I actually like Cameron, met him a couple of times. Really nice guy, really smart. I'm okay with what he did with Bashir as far as, because I think Brashear overstepped what he was doing. He just didn't go about it the right way. I don't think what he did was wrong. I think that the way that he did it's incorrect, and he needs to be called on that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and it needs to be fixed. But he needs to get off his ass and do something about this Brianna Taylor thing.
Absolutely.
Because that ain't right.
Daniel Cameron you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, AG, yeah.
Yeah, because, look, basically they get a no-knock warrant because they think maybe there's somebody there that they're after. They kick the door in. Somebody kicks my door in, dude. They're getting fired at.
Absolutely. John Kirk says, don't believe it was racist. Nobody said it was racist, man. It got nothing to do with race. It has to do with aggressive police policies that are terrible. That's what it has to do with. No.
I agree with that 100%. And it's not, and they're, I know John, his dad, obviously he's the sheriff here. Great sheriff.
No, it's not
and we've got a bunch of great cops here. But in that particular case, what happened there is a shame, and it's a travesty that this girl's asleep and a stray bullet hits her, and they emptied, I don't know how many shots. It's some insane number.
I think she actually got hit 8 times or something like that.
Yeah.
Hallway, but she died, In the middle of a gunfight, you're going to slam the pan, I guess. But if you kick mine down in the middle of the night, there's something coming at you. I promise you that.
There is, for people, I talk about KSR all the time on here, but Matt Jones has his own podcast, and he talks to a guy by the name of Steve Romines. What did Randall say? She was not in bed. They actually woke up and put clothes on. She was shot in the hallway. She
was shot in the hallway. I just said that. Yeah, she was. When they showed up. Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So, but there's a really good. Matt does an interview with Steve Romines, and he's like some bigwig attorney, like the attorney in Louisville. And he's talking about it, and he goes into a lot of detail. And if you haven't listened to it, JD, and obviously for the people listening, that's something that you should check out if you want some good information on that particular case.
I guess about that, man. John says you didn't make it, but the media has. I don't think the media made that about a Black Lives Matter thing, man. I think the media is making that. I know Charles Booker has been one of the main people out protesting that case, trying to get no warrants to be no more, man. Trying to get them knocked away. And I think it's the right thing. We just keep talking here. You can tell JD and I didn't get to talk last week. What about the whole defund the police movement? Like I saw out there in Seattle, like they're actually pushing to take 50% of the budget. And here's my pushback on that. And I'll see if you agree or disagree. All right.
Like I am for the demilitarization of the police. I'm for more community policing where the cops get out and they get to know the people that they're policing.
Sure.
I'm more for that, but I'm also for more training. I heard Jocko talk on Rogan the other day that they should be spending 25% of their time training, learning how to de-escalate. And, I don't know that defunding, I think maybe moving the money around a little bit into more training and things like that is the way to go, but not to defund the police, man. What are you going to do if there are no police? Who are you going to come after? Who are you going to call?
We talked about this before a little bit, but we'll go deeper into it. It's a clunky motto, defund the police. Anybody who wants to defund the police and get rid of the police force, they're crazy. They've lost their mind. Don't talk to that person no more. Because the police are a very essential part of a civilized society. I think we all would agree with that, right? Hopefully. But also, if we're going to demilitarize the police, which I think needs to happen because we talked about this before, if you engage somebody with force, then that's what you're going to get back in return. Do we need more training? Yeah, maybe. What we need is better training. We need better.
And I agree with that.
No, we don't need. There was another incident over the weekend. I seen a guy got pulled over for a traffic ticket and ended up getting ripped out of his car. And he was a white guy. He ain't got nothing. Some of this stuff ain't got nothing to do with race. Some of it's just bad training and bad cops. And if anybody don't think there's any bad cops out there, you've not dealt with the cops many times. Because there's some guys that shouldn't be cops. There should be, psychological evaluations. There should be, you should spend a day training once a week. I don't think that's unrealistic. But I think we're better off spending that money on libraries and parks and community centers and because I think we're all product of our environments. And did we talk about the broken glasses policy that like Giuliani did? We talked about that.
Yeah, I think we did. Or you and I may have talked. Go ahead again, though, because I think maybe you and I talked about it.
Okay, so the broken glasses is the concept of if there's a building, let's say there's an abandoned building on the street corner, and it's got some busted windows. So now everybody feels like, oh, it's fine if you busted out the windows, no big deal. So then somebody takes that a step further, they start putting graffiti on the building. Then somebody's like, oh, well, we'll start selling crack out of the building, or we'll start doing, whatever. So what Giuliani did was he started fixing up all the bad buildings, renovating the old ones and knocking down the ones he couldn't, painting over the graffiti, cleaning up all these things. And now people start taking pride in their communities. And it led to more arrests. It got rid of prostitution, which got rid of the drugs, which got rid of the shootings. I mean, so it was a domino effect. And it's called, broken glasses policy. And so if we build up these communities, man, with libraries, with nice architecture, with community centers, with parks, we don't have to just make the police budget insanely amount of, it doesn't have to be the same amount. We can take some of that money and put it back into the communities. And build up community leaders and people take pride in their communities. And that's what I think. That's why I'm in for taking money away from the police. I don't know how much. I'm not. That's
right.
First off, to know, because that's not my expertise. But it seems to make sense to me.
I could see moving some money around, and maybe have the police department be a part of that. When they're doing these things out in the community, when they're redoing the park, maybe have the police officers be a part of that and get to know that community. Yep. And I think that helps. If you know who you're talking to, it changes. Just like me wearing a mask. When it came to where I thought I was going to be hurting my mom, my entire thought process about a mask changed. Sure. So why not maybe apply that to policing? And maybe that's stupid, I don't know. But, that's something that to me seems like it would make sense.
If you care about the people you're serving, you're going to serve like you care about them. If you don't care about the people you serve, you're going to serve them like you don't care about them.
Yeah. And
that's just the way we are as humans, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's all hypothetical. What do you think about de Blasio in New York and all that he's doing? Like, I haven't got to read a whole lot, but like he kind of wears me out.
I listen. Those guys in New York, I don't keep up with them, man. I feel like they're all over the place. I feel like him and Cuomo are all over the place.
I'd like to see them get in a cage, to be honest with you.
Or do they?
What's that?
They don't like each other, do they?
Oh, no, they don't. And, I mean, they've got just two totally different ways of viewing things, and, and there's been a clash. I don't know. De Blasio kind of wears me out. He wore me out when they were doing the Democratic debates and all that other stuff. I didn't like him. So, all right, brother. Guys, JD, first off, good to see you again, brother.
Same, brother. Same.
Hopefully I'll go get tested here this week, and hopefully I'm neg. And if I am, I'll see you next Sunday. This is episode 48, two more to a big milestone for us, which will be episode 50. And then we're going to have some other good stuff coming up on the other side of the glass, the live interview series that we're doing. All three of us are actually working on some good stuff. JD, I got one I need to tell you about. One I forgot. I meant to tell you before. But I think I've got a couple good ones coming up, and I know JD's working hard. JD is like the master at getting guests. It's crazy.
Some dog. It's gonna be big.
So, but to everybody that watched and commented tonight, we appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun when people are commenting. Don't you think, JD? When
it is. But one thing I want to say, man, like people think this podcasting gig is just easy, like you just show up and do it, and we do show up and do it, but it's not as easy as people think it is. Do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, no. There's a ton of work, man. I have literally, like, JD works really hard. Like, we all kind of do our own thing. JD works really hard with the guests. Brad is really the one who studies probably more than any of us, so that what we try to say when he's on here, we can be factual. He can kind of fact check JD and I, because Brad studies a lot. My job is almost producing. I have learned how to do this.
Yeah.
When we get done, I got a program. I'll download this, put it on YouTube. I'll, actually download it to be a podcast. I don't know. This is my part of it. And no, there's a lot of work that goes into it too. Now the sitting down, what we're doing right now,
It's the easiest part.
is the easiest part.
Yeah.
This is the fun part.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys that are watching right now, you girls, the guys, whatever, hey, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Just Add Bourbon podcast channel, and go our personal channels and subscribe. Is yours even up at all?
Yeah, mine's up. It's the Small Town Collectibles channel, and then JD's is just look up Jason Dameron, and you'll get to see him drink some bourbon and actually review it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
We'll start making some cocktails too, man.
Yeah, you did a good job, man. Like, I watched it and I didn't have any expectations, but now I told JD I'm a little partial because, I like JD. But he does a nice job. And if you're into that, I think you'll enjoy what he did. So, and then you'll get to see me do some, open up some boxes. The first one I completely butchered, like it's awful. Ashton, though, is editing all of them. Dude, our kids can do things. I literally gave her the video, and 5 minutes later, like I say, I introduce what I'm doing. My logo pops up. There's music.
All right, that's it. I'm getting Ashton over here next week.
Dude, it's crazy. I bet Haley can do it. They were in that class together.
I can't make her do it.
Which Ashton, I told her, I said, just put on the end, give yourself producer credit.
Right.
And then I'll start paying you. We actually start making a little money on this. I'll start paying you. So
there you go.
But no, they're cool. All right. So I'll sit here and talk all night. So guys, like JD said, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. If we can get to 500 subscribers, we will go through our subscribers list and randomly select someone for $100. And we don't care to do that, but I'm not doing it for $6, JD.
And maybe some Just Add Bourbon memorabilia.
Yeah, we've got some memorabilia too. We've been working on it. It's funny, JD said we should talk to each other because all three of us were working on, memorabilia. And check his shirt out. Can you see that, JD?
Chill. What's it say? Chill up?
It says Chill Billies.
Chill Billies. Okay.
That's the best logo I've seen. I went to this little dive restaurant to get a crab boil, and it was called Chill Billies.
Yeah. And
it's just a little hole in the wall, but they got the best logo, so I bought me a shirt.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I like it.
All right. So anyway, we're going to sit here and keep talking. Check us out. You can download the show, of course, on iTunes. You can go to Podbean and subscribe. That's where I launched the we launched the podcast from. And then, of course, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And guys, as we always end the show, from myself and from JD, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. See y'all this week, guys.